Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Behind the Screen. So I feel like on my channel, we talk a lot about family vloggers. But in a way, and I've seen people talk about this in the comments, family vloggers, a lot of them got their idea to even do family vlogging because of TLC. I mean, TLC brought us shows like John and Kate Plus 8, 19 Kids and Counting, which I think at one point was, well, it first started out as 16 kids and 17 kids, 18, 19, whatever. It also brought us shows like Little People, Big World, and so many more. All shows that documented daily life for many families. And while some of it might have been scripted, in general, it was a different kind of setup than a movie where everything is scripted. And even more important to note, a lot of these shows had very unfortunate points in the series or unfortunate endings for the kids involved. The kids from John and Kate Plus 8 have had to go through life not only navigating being some of the first child reality stars, but they also had to deal with their parents' ugly divorce in a very public way. When it comes to 19 Kids and Counting, I mean, where to really begin? There's so much I could talk about with that one. I mean, truly, I don't know where to begin. That's a whole video in and of itself. If you guys want a Duggar deep dive or anything to do with the Duggars, let me know. But anyway, with Little People Big World, one of the kids of the shows was SA'd by one of the show's producers. And even whenever his parents found out years later, they still continued doing the show, which is beyond me. These are just some examples of the many ways that TLC has negatively affected kids since it started turning families into reality TV stars. But even with all the negativity that has surrounded TLC over the past couple of decades, even with the reality of people waking up to the dangers of, children being used for reality shows, being used for online content like YouTube channels, even with all of that, all of the public knowledge, TLC has managed to hit an all-time low. TLC is bringing a show to their network that literally zero people asked for. And the show is called The Baldwins. That's right, it's Alec Baldwin, his wife Hilaria, and all of their young children. So we're gonna be kind of breaking down the show, what it's gonna be about. We're gonna look at the trailer. We're going to be talking about how at this point, with all of the knowledge that we have whenever it comes to families being a part of reality TV shows, why nobody should be doing it, but especially Alec Baldwin. But before we do that, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, Behind the Screen. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and leave me a comment below about what you think about all of this. Are you going to be tuning into the show, or are you going to be skipping that one? So real quick, a very, very quick breakdown of what happened with Alec Baldwin on the set of the Western movie Rust. Back in October 2021, while rehearsing a scene for the movie, Alec handled what was supposed to be a cold prop gun. The gun actually fired and tragically did end the life of cinematographer Helena Hutchins, and it also injured director Joel Souza. But to this day, Alec has insisted that he never pulled the trigger. Like, he was more shocked than anybody. But even so, he was charged with involuntary manslaughter. This went on for years, and the case ended up being dismissed. Alec was essentially dropped from Hollywood. I mean, he went from hosting, I think he has the record of hosting the most for SNL. He's been in tons of movies. Basically went from all of that to falling off the face of the earth. And I remember there being talks of him doing a TLC reality show, but I was like, that would never happen. Alec Baldwin would never do a reality TV show because even if he's not getting cast in anything, he does not need the money that bad, right? Wrong. Because it turns out that his show, The Baldwins, is actually going to be premiering this month, this February 2025. And I'm going to read you a summary of what the show is supposed to be about. So it says, the Baldwins will blend the highs and lows of family life with the challenges and humor that come with raising a large family in the public eye. And it will include candid discussions about mental health. So that's just like a quick little breakdown of what the show's about, but let's actually go and watch a trailer for the show.
7 children.
Okay, so right there, we already know that all 7 of their kids are going to be in the show. I believe that Alec has, well, I know for a fact he at least has one older daughter, so I don't know if they're considering that in the total number of kids that they have. I should have probably looked into that before, but we do see a lot of little kids in this shot.
6 animals, 2 parents. A wild family. Why are we eating chocolate? Get off your phone. Okay.
I mean, as you can see, they're not hurting for money, unless they're having a hard time paying their bills. But we're gonna get to that as to why I don't think that's the case.
In that pool.
Gross. What's the matter? Ow. Happy face. A son lost his mom in the most unthinkable tragedy. This is never something to forget, and we're trying to parent through it.
Kind of a weird way to word it. It's a son lost his mother the worst tragedy, true, but we're trying to parent through it. It's not you that lost the parent, but okay, let's keep watching.
The world is getting cold. Know that I'm yours.
Honestly, from the bottom of my soul, I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have you and these kids.
I will lift you up.
Then Alec, do your kids a favor and don't do this show. My goodness.
It's okay, just ignore him. We've had bad moments, but we found our foundation. She says you should look like this.
1989.
We're solid and we're here together.
I will lift.
Okay, so that was a quick little snippet of what's to come on the Baldwins. It looks like it's going to be premiering February 23rd. On TLC at 10 o'clock if you're interested. So I do have to say I am pretty disappointed that Alec Baldwin would stoop to this kind of level. His estimated net worth is $70 million and his wife's estimated net worth is $10 million. Now yes, that's an estimate. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but they do have more money than most people will ever see in their lifetime. There's really zero reason to do a reality TV show except for the fact that likely somebody like Alec is used to being in the spotlight. I mean, since he was a teenager? Forever, essentially. He loves being the center of attention. Like I said, he has the record for hosting the most on SNL. He has Steve Martin beat by one, I believe, by just one hosting. He's been in nearly 100 movies and TV shows combined, tons of interviews. Just like he's done it all. The idea of him doing a reality TV show on Netflix whenever he's in his 60s, or not on Netflix, on TLC, just seems wild and so unnecessary, because it's one thing if he was going to just focus on himself and his wife, but his kids were all through that trailer. And we know that TLC does a pretty bad job of creating more drama than there actually is, oftentimes not looking out for the best interest of the child or the children. I shouldn't even say oftentimes, I think it's really majority of the time. Not to mention reality TV has a way of really splitting up families. Yeah, Alec and Hilary have been in the spotlight for years, so that might not be an issue for them. Should we really be surprised though that TLC wants to capitalize on this chaos, on this tragedy? TLC loves to give toxicity a platform and take all of the Russ drama, all the legal issues, everything that has been surrounding the film aside. Alec Baldwin is toxic, and don't get me wrong, I actually like a lot of things that Alec Baldwin has done as far as entertainment goes. I love It's Complicated, the times he's hosted SNL, 30 Rock. In a perfect world, I really wish that he was in Christmas with the Cranks, not Tim Allen. I wish that instead Jamie Lee Curtis with Meryl Streep. But that's not how it was, and that's a completely different thing. My point is I never hated Alec Baldwin, but he's a pretty toxic person. Take aside all the rest things, which I do think was a horrible tragedy, and I'll get to that point in a minute. But Alec Baldwin is the same person that called his daughter, who at the time was 11 years old, a pig. Gonna play that clip for you real quick in case if you've never heard this before, but it's gross to say the least.
Hey, I want to tell you something, okay? And I want to leave a message for you right now, because again, it's 10:30 here in New York on a Wednesday, and once again, I've made an ass of myself trying to get to a phone to call you at a specific time. When the time comes for me to make the phone call, I stop whatever I'm doing and I go and I make that phone call at 11 o'clock in the morning in New York, and if you don't pick up the phone, at 10 o'clock at night, and you don't even have that goddamn phone turned on. I want you to know something, okay? I'm tired of playing this game with you. I'm leaving this message with you to tell you, you have insulted me for the last time. You have insulted me. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old, or that you're a child, or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the ass who doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. You have humiliated me for the last time with this phone. And when I come out there next week, I'm going to fly out there for the day just to straighten you out on this issue. I'm going to let you know just how disappointed in you I am and how angry I am with you that you've done this to me again. You've made me feel like shit, and you've made me feel like a fool over and over and over again. And this crap you pull on me with this goddamn phone situation that you would never dream of doing to your mother, and you do it to me constantly and over again. I am going to get on a plane, and I'm going to come out there for the day, and I'm going to straighten your ass out when I see you. Do you understand me? I'm going to really make sure you get it. Then I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to come home. So you better be ready Friday, the 20th, to meet with me. So I'm going to let you know just how I feel about what a rude little pig you really are. You are a rude, thoughtless little pig, okay?
Yeah, what dad talks to his 11-year-old daughter like that? What dad talks to his daughter like that? Period, no matter what her age is. Alec Baldwin is also known to have a pretty big ego, one that, you know, it's okay if he doesn't follow the rules, everyone else has to, but not him. Like the time that he got kicked off of a plane because they asked him to stop using his phone, and he refused to do it and threw a fit instead. There was also the time that he punched some random guy over a parking spot.
Why did you punch someone in the face?
He was arrested for misdemeanor assault and harassment for allegedly punching a total stranger in a dispute over a parking spot.
Yeah, so do I think that Alec Baldwin intentionally pulled the trigger on that gun? Absolutely not. I think it was a complete freak accident, and I do think that someone needs to be held accountable for it, not necessarily Alec Baldwin. But with all of that being said, does he deserve his own show? No. Again, I don't believe that Alec Baldwin actually needs the money. I think this is just a way for him to get himself back out in the spotlight and to get asked to be back on SNL, to get asked to be back on movie roles, book deals, all the things, to show a side of him that we've never really seen before, a more empathetic side, the family man side, the caring husband side of him, just tons of different sides of him that we just haven't seen because he's never put that out there before. He's always just been the Alec Baldwin who's funny, political, and kind of a jerk at times, but people liked him. Again, I always kind of liked him. But in his quest to go and get his image back, is it really fair that his kids are being dragged into it too? I mean, even beginning this video, I said, I don't even know how many kids that he has. I know he has a daughter who's an adult now because I know that he called her a pig. And I know he must have a handful of young kids because in that video, there was a bunch of little kids running around. But I couldn't tell you any of his kids' names or anything about them. If they're boys, girls, I don't know. Probably most people can say that. In general, I've kept it pretty under wraps whenever it came to their private life. I really do think this is like a last ditch attempt to regain the popularity and the overall likability that he once had in Hollywood. This whole thing with the Russ incident did come out being an accident, but even so, that did not mean that he was just invited back into Hollywood. Clearly, he took on a TLC show. I don't think somebody in Hollywood at Alec Baldwin's standard, you know, with the type of scripts he was getting in, I don't think, you know, before Rust, he would have ever considered a TLC show. But post-Rust, obviously things are different. Like I said, if he was just doing a show about himself, whatever, I would still think it's kind of pathetic, but whatever. But the whole bringing his kids in and trying to get his image back is just kind of gross. Shame on him and shame on TLC and shame on his wife too. And at this point, we know all about the fact that kids have no place on reality TV and no place on the family vlogger, you know, YouTube side of things. And I hate whenever I see situations like this where it's so clear why the kids are being used in the show. TLC should truly be ashamed that they continue to go and capitalize off of just gross situations, icky situations, tragedy, trauma, all the things. I mean, think about how 19 Kids and Counting ended. It's like, okay, good, that show ended. There was all the drama and just trauma surrounding that show, but they ended it. And then they started doing Jill and Jess Accounting On. Like they just didn't even miss a beat because they knew, let's capitalize on this. And I feel like that's exactly what TLC is doing right now. I don't see this show lasting more than one season. I think it's going to get a lot more hate and do a lot more harm than good for Alec Baldwin's reputation, but who knows? I've been wrong before. I didn't think he would ever do a show like TLC. So obviously I'm wrong. I can be wrong, but I just have a feeling this is going to be a one-season show because let's face it, Alec Baldwin, great actor, super funny. Do we really want to watch him in his day-to-day life? Probably not. But what do you think? Are you going to be watching this show? Do you still even watch TLC? I feel like I'm shocked that TLC is still a network. And do you think that this is going to be enough to bring Alec Baldwin back into the spotlight? Do you think that he's ever going to be on SNL again? Hey, maybe he's going to be hosting the 50th season of it. I don't know. Could totally be wrong about that one too. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys again next time.